Bill, you have 60 seconds to respond.
Mr. Mayor, your record in the West End includes the ethanol transloading facility, the Brack debacle, which is off the tax rolls, and now a fire station that hasn't been fully funded or fully equipped. Why should West End residents re-elect you?
Well, Mr. Donnelly, that is not my record. You may conclude that yourself, but that is not my record. My record is one that has been providing outreach and leadership to the West End residents community. I planted the seed to get the West End Business Association started almost 10 years ago so that they could come together and provide the opportunity to have a voice on the West End to advocate for their needs. In addition to that, we have as has been so mentioned, we are working very diligently to get the Landmark Mall project up and running, the redevelopment. That certainly has been characterized and was at that time to be the economic engine for the West End, but delays there certainly have been beyond the control of the city. The market conditions, climate certainly have impacted that, but more importantly, it is on track. That is to come before the City Council this June before we recess. And the situation with the ethanol transloading facility was not something that the city created. I mean, Norfolk Southern was already there. They started making this process, this facility in a ready mode before the city even found out about it, and then they came in and talked to us, but it was too late. But we have been, personally, I've been down meeting with the chairman of the board and their leadership. I have a meeting on June 3rd to encourage them to not to enhance and expand their operation, which they have given notice, written notification to the city that that is one of their intents.
Bill Yule, you will now pose a question to Allison Silverberg. Allison, you have 60 seconds to respond.
Vice Mayor Silverberg, we have the Democratic primary coming up on June 9th. I would like to know whether or not you feel that this should be an open invitation for Republicans to participate in our primary.
Well, I don't set the rules. I'm a staunch Democrat, always have been. The rules are that if you're registered to vote in this city of Alexandria, you are able to vote. If you're St. Bernard and registered to vote in the city, you can vote, I assume. But I just think if anyone can vote, if you're registered to vote. It is a Democratic primary, and I respect that. I think that the mayor is referring to some signs that have gone up that say Republicans for Allison, and I didn't know about them. I didn't authorize it. It's a free country. After I learned about it, I did speak with one of the people involved as I found out who had put them up, and I did suggest, frankly, that they consider removing them. But I didn't tell them what to do because I didn't think that would be right. And this just happened on Sunday night, really. And here we are on Tuesday night. And I just want to finish one sentence, please, Mr. Berg. And that is, I don't think any of us should tell other people what to do and put signs on their yards or not. So I really shouldn't have even suggested it. That they remove it, because I think that's against our, core value about freedom of speech. And I do appreciate their support, and it stems from the fact that a child age 7, Hugo, was trick-or-treating on that street, a small part of Russell Road, and was struck by a car and nearly killed, and has had 5 or 7 surgeries and barely survived. And he now walks at the end of the day with a limp. So I helped them in terms of getting speed tables, etc. And he had reached out to others. And in fact, I'll just finish this last sentence. They had reached out to the council for over 10 years and had gotten nowhere. It took a child getting hurt. And I'm glad that I helped them. And I appreciate their support, but I didn't expect it necessarily. Thank you.
And finally, Allison Silverberg, question to Kerry Donnelly, 15-second question, 60-second response.
Okay, Mr. Donnelly. You mentioned that BRAC wouldn't have happened on your watch. But like it or not, you were part of the council that enabled it to happen. And it did technically happen on your watch, and that you voted for that rezoning. So how do you
Well,
respond?
first off, yeah, I'd be happy to respond, and I think I responded, before. It didn't happen on my watch. I wasn't part of the council, number one. Number two, I know that you're still relatively new to the council, but when you rezone something, it has certain requirements that are part of the SUP process. The fact that this was under federal ownership removed it from any local control, okay, which also removed it from the tax roll. So all the zoning, all of the planning, all of the infrastructure requirements, the special use permit requirements were all taken away because we allowed BRAC to go to the Mark Center. Whereas if we were smart, first of all, I don't even know that pursuing the Washington Headquarters Service was even a good idea, because that, even if it had gone to the West End, or Eisenhower, would have gone off the tax rolls. But the council at the time endorsed 2 sites. They weren't decisive, and they didn't say, we want you in the West, we want you in Eisenhower, which would have been the more appropriate site. But it didn't happen under my watch. Quite frankly, all of the controls that we built in as part of our zoning were taken away, because it was acquired by the federal government, and the federal government is not subject to local taxes, nor is it subject to local zoning.
Thank you. As the audience